And Clerk Regula, since I've not chaired one of these before, if I get lost in the weeds, just bring me back, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, so I thank you in advance for your patience with me. With that, it's 12 o'clock. Everybody feeling ready? Ready enough? All right, we'll do it. We'll call to order the Board of Equalization here on Tuesday, April 14th, 2026. Will the clerk please call our roll?
Vice Mayor Stanton Gregor,
I am here.
Member Martin,
Here.
Member Mucci,
Here.
Member Newman,
Here.
Member Schwartz,
Here.
Member Valentine.
Here.
Thank you.
We have 6 people live here in session. Member Lynn is still excused. We'll begin the Board of Equalization hearings. The Borough Contract Assessors Appraisal Company of Alaska, Martin's on Schools, will now provide information to the Board of Equalization regarding the property evaluation process for Petersburg. Would you like to present, Martin? You're up. Is there anything you wanted to add on that before we got into the appeals itself? That would be, I think, the appropriate time.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
The properties are valued as of January 1st. The values are set using comparable property sales, whether it's vacant land sales or residential or commercial properties. And those sales are used for each kind of subdivision location a little bit differently, whether it's waterfront properties or properties that do not have waterfront. And then they're being adjusted per condition, per size of the lot. And that is the best evidence we have is comparable sales. And we do inspections every year, every fall for new construction, or if property owners, they have called us to review their properties. We do those kind of inspections. And then every couple of years, we do the whole city. And also every 3-4 years, we do all the remote properties as well. Remote properties, they get reviewed with a little bit longer intervals just because there isn't that much construction going on in recent years due to costs being really high. And then every year also we do what's called sales ratio studies, where we review all the known sales and compare that to assessed values. And that's a requirement from the state. And currently we are about 80% of the market value. State requires to be closer to 100%. And 80% is an average. There's most of the properties are still valued under the assessed value. There's some properties that could be valued at 50%, 60, 70, 80, 90. Average, we are looking at 80%. And based on that, we have to make adjustments. If that ratio falls quite a bit below 100%, state requires us to make market adjustments every year just because we have to report back to the state at what level assessments are in each one of the communities where we do assessment work. And the current market trends we are looking at is slowed down a little bit in this year. Properties are still selling for quite a bit. Most of them are still selling for quite a bit more what the assessed values are, but it has slowed down quite a bit, which we have seen pretty much across Southeast. Some towns have slowed down a lot. Petersburg is still selling for quite a bit of money, and I think that's all I have for just general update of what the market is doing in Petersburg. Yeah, thank you.
Any questions for Martin's on the valuation process before we
I do.
go right ahead?
Hey, you mentioned Martin's, welcome to Petersburg, but you mentioned, when will you be doing assessments again for the entire community?
Reevaluation for the whole town or
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
yes. We have done most of the land so far. Seems like the values are kind of where it needs to be. There's still some pockets
Yep.
maybe it needs to be adjusted. We might be looking for also revaluing all the residential properties this summer. We've been kind of holding back because we've been adjusting the values, kind of trying to keep up with the market, but it seems like the market is still running away faster than we can keep up with that.
And then do you, when you're looking at the residential, do you look at the businesses in town as well?
Commercial properties as well.
Okay.
Commercial are just because there's already not many residential sales that we have, and commercial is even less, there's maybe 1 or 2 sales per year.
Okay.
So that's always, it's very tough to revalue just because the sales that we have, for example, would be 2 unheated shops, right? But we have more than that. We have office buildings, we have big heated shops, we have fish processing plants. So sometimes that takes a little bit longer to review and collect all that,
Okay.
that data.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Any questions for Martins? In that case, before we get into the appeals, if it's okay with the clerk, I was going to read over some of the basic criteria we've got on top, just for those listening here and just for all of us, if that's all right with you, clerk? Yeah, pursuant under PMC section 4.24.220C. These are grounds for adjustment of assessment. The only grounds for adjustment of assessment are proof of unequal, excessive, and improper, or undervaluation based on facts that are stated in a valid written appeal or proven at hearing. Key, it is the appellant's burden to establish one of the following grounds for adjustment. Excessive. To show an assessment is excessive, the appellant must demonstrate that assessment is more than simply overvalued. It must be grossly disproportionate when compared to other assessments, or there must be evidence of intentional or fraudulent purpose to assign an excessive value. Or unequal. To show that an assessment is unequal, the appellant must demonstrate that there are other properties within the same class. There is no reasonably basis to justify differences in valuation. And lastly, nearly lastly, improper. To show that an assessment is improper, it must be demonstrated that the assessor used an improper method of valuation amounting to fraud or a clear adoption of an incorrect valuation system. And last but not least, undervalued. Rare, but it does occur from time to time. Seems fairly clear, I think, to us as the Board of Equalization. With that, will we begin the appeals process? Unless anyone has any questions or thoughts before we kick it off? Member Valentine, will you be our timekeeper again?
Yep.
It'll be, let's see, A through D are provided 3 minutes to speak, so got the signed paperwork for, that will be Tom Kowalski is first. Go ahead, Shannon, it's all right. Oh, yeah, that's a fair clarifier. Yeah, so we've got 3 minutes for the appellant, 3 minutes for the assessor. Yeah, like as chair, like if, I'm not going to cut you off in your last sentence, but we will try to keep it to promptly to 3 minutes each. So just try to be efficient, but no, I'm not going to hack you off mid-sentence, okay? Of course, very fair question. All right, Mr. Kowalski, I should say, okay, the first appeal is Thomas Kowalski. Parcel number 01-031-596, appeal number 2026-04. The floor is yours to the appellant. Would you please start the clock? Member Valentine. Floor is yours, sir.
I appreciate this opportunity. And I just wanted to point out to you guys that I strongly feel like the borough should implement a tax relief to folks that have purchased properties and then towers were later put on afterwards. I think you think about it, it makes sense. Anchorage is doing it. Anyway, I just wanted to make that point to you. And I was also, I presented a bunch of information to you guys prior to the meeting. There's some statements from realtors from the lower 48. There's also an assessment company that did an investigation, and they did find that proximity to towers does reduce property value. And in reading this summary that the assessor gave you, I just started going through it. I know I only have 3 minutes and I'm already halfway through it, but you know, the part of what I sent you was statements from both our realtors. One stated that the number of people interested in buying a property, the pool would be smaller for a property next to a tower than it would if there was no tower there, which is a reduction in property value. And also the other thing is another realtor said that property values do decrease in proximity to towers. So that's your local data. And I provided some from down south. You know, our data pool here is very small. If you look at properties that aren't in the assessment summary, the house right next door to me was on the market for 3 years. It sold $25,000 less. There's an example in this summary that states the property on Odin Drive. Well, it's for sale. There's no pending and there's no contract. There's nothing that shouldn't even be in here. Examples like the one on what road is that? Kings Road. It's been for sale for almost a year, and they've knocked that price down 25%, I think. And there's more than 12 properties within the vicinity of a quarter mile of the tower on Hagerford Drive that have been on the market for well over 10 years, and they're not moving. One moves every once in a while, but they don't move very much. Is it because there's a tower there? Who knows? There's another property that's for sale nearby, and it's had over 29,000 views. Did all those people decide not to buy that property because there's a tower right next door? Maybe, but there's some data there. It's not referenced. But anyway, I don't have much time, and that's unfortunate, but that's all I can get out.
Thank you, Mr. Kowalski. Martins, the floor is yours. Oh, no, sorry, the assessor. I'll be more specific next time, Mr. Susort. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, the property is located at 125 Cornelius Road. It's about 15,000 square foot. The lot size, which is very typical for that subdivision. I understand the concerns from the property owners, proximity of the newly constructed tower. Like I said before, we base our values just purely on sales that we have available. Tower was built at the end of November. There would be even not possible to have sales enough to even show that there is a change in the value. And so there's no really a market evidence. We have a couple other towers across town, one in the airport subdivision behind the high school, Hungerford Hill. It's right there, close by the subject property. Again, I've listed a couple of sales on the map. Properties are selling for more than assessed value. There's a couple of properties, couple of listings that I have included in my presentation, which is one of the last pages. The reason I have included them there is because they're listed, can't say about double, but close, but to double what the assessed value is. I would be very concerned if our assessed value would be 365 properties on the market for 365 and it's been there for a year. I would be then probably somewhat concerned that our values are too high, just because we are matching what this listed price is, and our assessed values are the same level and the property hasn't sold for a year. But if we are about, can say double, but about $140,000 below that, there's a couple other listings where we are quite a bit lower what they are listed for. It kind of indicates, even though if the property might have some reduction in the value just because of the tower, our assessed values are still quite a bit lower what the properties are either listed for or are selling for. And the subject property sold about 5 years ago for $275,000, and we have about 6 to 8% on average is kind of the low end of appreciation per year. And so I gave a couple examples how much property would potentially be selling for right now. It's between 365 to 404. That's kind of on the low end. So even if there is reduction in the market value just because of the cell tower, we are still about $100,000 to $60,000 below what the property would potentially sell for. Also, given that we are about 80% of ratio of the assessed and sales values. So therefore, our recommendation was no change to assessed value, just because the current assessed values are already quite a bit lower what the properties are selling for. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Onschools. One second, Member Mucci. For those of us up here, because now is our time for deliberation and asking questions, I think we're all there anyway, but we're on pages, the assessor's findings are pages 38 through 42, and Mr. Kowalski's are before that. Any questions for either the appellant or for the assessor? Member Mucci.
Thank you. To Martins, hey Martins, when was this piece of property assessed?
I believe there's land value change this year, right? I would have to pull up the history. I think it was assessed this year.
So between now, the 2026.
As of January 1st. Yeah,
Okay.
that's when we set the values.
Thank you.
Yes.
Member Martin.
Could you explain that? What are the dots on this cell phone,
I'm glad you asked that one.
cell tower location?
That's a little confusing there, I understand. So I was trying to find online a map of all the cell towers that we have. The yellow ones are the major cell towers. Those are the big wireless ones that we can see by the subject property, by the airport subdivision behind the school. The blue ones are personal use, I think VHS radios. Red ones were some sort of 5G devices. And the green ones, I'm not really sure what the green ones are. I think those are related to FAA. As we can see, there's a couple around the airport. So that's a map.
Just the yellow ones are.
The yellow ones are the major ones.
Another question from Martins, sorry. It was on page 41, you mentioned the 6 to 8% appreciation that a lot of properties are seeing. And so right now, the Kowalski property in question is valued, it appears to be significantly less than that 6 to 8% of valuation growth, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so,
And 6 to 8%, we always use the low end on the market. There's probably some properties that appreciate more than that. And the way we track the appreciation is let's say we have a property that sells in 2020 and then it sells again 2025 and nothing has been done to the property.
sure.
But it sells for $300,000 in 2020 and then $450 in 2025. And that's how we calculate the yearly appreciation average.
Roger that. So in short, as of right now, from assessment purposes, it would be undervalued compared to market value.
That's an estimate. Yeah.
Estimated, sorry.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Further questions or deliberation from the board for either the appellant or the assessor? Yeah, take your time. This is our first one. Get settled in. Please, and thank you.
Person gets a rebuttal. That's next on the list.
Blunt rebuttal, assessor rebuttal.
Oh, if they could talk for A, B, C, and D. Sorry, I thought A is the paperwork in the attachment. Apologies. Mr. Kowalski, 3 minutes. The time is yours. My bad.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Rob.
Director.
Hey, I just want to point out that the negotiations, if you call it that, really weren't negotiations. Had I known that my property was assessed below market value, I would not be asking for the cut that I'm asking for. It would have been much less than that. I would have probably just looked for 20%. Anyway, and that should be something in your mind. I don't know if we can change it, but anyways, that's the route I would go if we were at a table, sitting down, talking back and forth, and he explained to me all the things that are in this ahead of time. I could have planned appropriately, and my responses also would have been different. Anyway, the other thing I want to point out is that the properties that sold next to the tower by the grocery store, there was a bunch of lots there that sold. They sold for $15,000 each, way under market value. That's a data point. That's something you should consider. It was right next to a tower. Anyway, that's all I got for rebuttal. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Kowalski, and apologies again for
No
what
worries.
got order there. To keep in keep in line with it, Mr. Onschools has the floor again.
Just a quick comment. I also reached out to appraisers that do to full-time appraising in Southeast and a couple of realtors, and they kind of also confirmed that there's not enough data that the cell towers do reduce the value, just because the reason I did that is because assessors, we're kind of at the bottom of the totem pole once we get the values, because the buyers and sellers are the ones that are most up to date, and the realtors are the next ones, and the appraisers are next ones, and we are the last ones, because we review the values from the 2025 and apply to 2026. And even if things might have changed right now, we still have to reflect the values that are, we're always a year or 2 years behind of what's happening. That's just kind of reality of our work. And so I did additional research, and kind of everybody confirmed that there's not enough data. And I agree with property owner that in other states where there's some research has been done, I probably agree. I'm not arguing about that there's probably some reduction in value in some of the other states, but we're not seeing that in Alaska or in Petersburg. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, now we've got it in line, but questions for either the appellant or discussion amongst ourselves or for the assessor. Member Valentine.
Thank you. Martins, has there been sales in other communities near towers in the last maybe 2 or 3 years that you are aware of?
There probably has been, but I haven't had any appeals or people saying that they paid significantly less than.
So it's like not on your radar because it wasn't.
No, we have community like Dutch Harbor. There's subdivision called Haystack Hill, which has probably 7 towers on top of the hill. And those homes are selling, those are the most expensive homes in the city. And again, I haven't had any appeals saying that they would pay less just because there are towers up there.
Question.
Can we clarify, Martins, can we clarify that piece of property up by Hammer Weekon Airport subdivision, it did sell for below market value?
It sold, I only know one recent sale. I think the ones that sold for $15,000, those were a long time ago.
Okay.
But the one that recently sold was, I think, 2 years ago for $65,000. That was a vacant lot, and they just recently built a house there. That was probably 2 lots from the tower. And that's about, I think we have those lots assessed at $35,000, $36,000, $40,000, somewhat within that range, the vacant ones.
That sold for more, actually.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any further questions before we deliberate amongst ourselves?
I got one.
Please.
I overheard, Martins, a property owner saying they had a successful negotiation with you being adjacent to the tower property. They were able to get their value lowered. Is that something you can speak about?
That was adjusted because of, we had more arguments about the fill, whether it's a full fill or floating fill or just, gravel pad, full pad. So, and property owner compared to other lots that had similar fill and how much it's been filled. So we had made adjustment because of that, not because of the tower.
Okay, thank you.
Because of okay.
If anyone has further questions, feel free to ask them. Otherwise, we can look at our, as a body, can look at our key data of the definitions of excessive, unequal, improper, and or undervalued. And
What was, I don't know who to ask here, but what was the assessed value prior to this year? So this year, the land is being assessed at 62. What was it prior? I don't remember seeing it.
Martins, do you have that data back there?
I can have it in a couple minutes.
Not a problem.
Right
Here we go. No, here we got it.
2.6.
Yeah, so we've got a couple different data points. It sold in 2021 for $275. And we've got the land is valued at 62.6. Good call, Rob. And buildings at 245.6.
Yeah, that's this year's, but prior to this
Oh,
year.
Roger. Nope, that's not in my wheelhouse. All I got is a sale from 2021, but Martins will get it.
Just for talking out loud sake, since we're all deliberating up here and reading, just for me personally, I appreciate you putting all the other realtors in here to show that in down south there is a trend, right? I personally struggle with using this as information for Petersburg, because Petersburg, Alaska has a different issues than New York or Michigan and other things like this. So I'm trying to make sure that the decision here is based off of Southeast Alaska and Alaska.
And just to add on to your point, Member Valentine, on page 39, we talk about all market evidence must be local and relevant. Yes, sir. Second paragraph from the bottom, the third bullet point down, under utilization of sales data. Member Schwartz.
Well, it's a dynamic world. At this point, looking at what we're seeing here right now, we've got to make a decision. A year or two or three down the road, it could change, but right now, we've got to make a decision based on what we're seeing in front of us.
Correct. Find what you're looking for back there, Martins?
Yeah, it was 51,300 last year.
Roger. So approximately what? Thank you.
I have a question.
Nope, that time has passed. Oh, wait, no, you can. We can still deliberate with you. I apologize. It's not rebuttal time, but yeah. Oh, no, wait, only if someone has a question for you. No, I can't unless someone has a question for you. Sorry, Tom, I'm still learning as I go.
Unless there's local, if there's local data, then you can look at data outside of the local. And provide some testimony from both realtors in town that it demonstrated each property was,
Understood. Member Martin?
I was wondering, why would the value of the structure go down? I can see the property going down, but it's not obvious to me why the material construction would go down in value.
That would be a question for Tom, I guess. If he was the one that's.
Martin's first.
What's the question? Sorry.
If we are to start seeing some market effects, why would it affect the structure, the buildings? Would it just affect the property value?
It would affect the total assessed value. So we would have to look at, for example, if something sells for 250, then we would have to figure out, okay, how can we split the value differences, right, between land and the building? If we have all lots assessed at $60,000, we might have to reduce. We might have to see, well, maybe also the land is selling for $30,000, and then we have to combine that value to somehow get to what the whole property is selling for. That makes sense. So, for example, let's say if this same property sells for $200,000, and then there's another sale for $200,000, but our assessed values are $300,000. Now we have to subtract that number from something, right? And if there's vacant land that's selling for $60,000, that kind of shows, well, the land didn't lose the value, but something else did, right? So we would maybe reduce the value for the building a little bit just to meet that market value, the total value, because we have to assign some value for the land and some for the buildings. And I've had cases where actually vacant land sells for more than land with the building, just because building might not be worth as much really. And so again, we just have to see how much the land is selling for and how much is the total assessed value. And in some cases, yeah, you just have to kind of move things around to make it make sense. If my answer makes sense, or kind of, I guess. Yeah.
Martin, sorry, are you going to finish?
It's usually what mainly we are looking is for the total assessed value. Just because, for example, for the town site, downtown, do we have any vacant lot sales? Well, not many, right? Just because there's no vacant lots available. So we have to figure out how to get to that full total assessed value, and some assigned value goes to land. If we have, ideally, we have some land sales available. If not, then we just have to kind of, you know, figure out, how to get to that total assessed value. So in this case, we have $308,000. If there are some sales, that are indicating it's gonna, you know, maybe they're selling for $250, we would have to, maybe reduce a little bit from both, or maybe just from the improvement value. If the land is still, maybe the land didn't lose any value, maybe just the total value lost. So in that case, we just take away value from the building.
Go ahead.
And then so it sounds like from my point of view, I should just be looking at the total value probably. Is there any reason to break it down for me as sitting up here doing my job, the land versus building?
Your decision.
Yeah.
You want to make some adjustments or not? How you want to break it down? Yeah.
It's a two-parter for Martin, then I think maybe we'll try to wrap this one up one way or another so we can move on to other ones. Martin's, so in short, currently the market is not reflecting lower property values in proximity to cell towers in Petersburg. Is this what I'm hearing from you at present? Okay. This is more of a hypothetical for an assessor, so if you can't answer it, not a problem. If for the sake of discussion, I'll just make up a magic number, 5 years down the line, the market is showing a reduction in property values and sales prices, would the assessment reflect that also?
Good.
Okay. And in that case, this is all entirely up to us, but I do not see anything grossly disproportionate. I do not see anything grossly unequal. I don't see anything improper that the assessor has done. So I would entertain a motion to uphold the assessment made because the appellant has failed to meet their burden of proof establishing the assessment is unequal, excessive, or improper based on the evidence presented today.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all right. Clerk Tom?
Now we're discussing it?
That's what I was gonna follow up on.
Yeah.
It. So is it, no, can we do discussion further on this?
Yes,
On the
that's
mo-
correct. And
Making sure?
who made the motion?
Rob, I did.
Okay.
I'll just open since the first one. Although I empathize with what Mr. Kowalski is saying, we don't have local data showing, again, grossly disproportionate. As of right now, again, I pay property taxes too. Mine have gone up. You know, I wouldn't say he's grossly undervalued, and Martin said, you know, put him where he's at. I can't pick something out in those criteria that would meet the burden of proof, and I'm open to any members of the assembly who think otherwise, because that's what we're doing here.
So with everything that Mr. Kowalski has brought forward, using the realtors as information for us to read, and as I read through it, and you have just these realtors basically saying that there is a reduction, I don't see an example that was brought in Michigan or New York of a property that can correlate directly to a tower is the reason why it went down. Now, these guys have been around a long time. That's what they're saying, but it's better for me to see an example of it actually happening and the person who is selling that lot to say the tower was the reason why it went down. And so I don't see that in that. And then if we have to use Alaska-based evidence, and I'm just looking for what you had just said, Tom, about the unless part, which I'm still not seeing. And so I feel as though from last year's evaluation, what Mr. Martins brought to this year's evaluation, that is and everybody's went up basically in that same amount percentage-wise. I don't see a direct correlation to the tower putting your property in any lower value. And
Any further discussion? Member Schwartz.
Yeah, I have concerns, but I think time will tell. Time's gonna tell a story. We're gonna have more information next year, the year after, the 3 years, 5 years down the road, like Jay said. I think as long as we have outside buyers coming in here and paying a lot of money for lots, and they're exposed to whatever they think they're exposed to from May through July through August, and then they're gone, that'll make a difference. And I think as long as we're selling, or I shouldn't say we, but land is being bought by commercial and industrial folks for a lot of money, that'll make a difference as well in the market value. So that's all I have to say about that. Based on what I'm seeing right now, I think the decision is pretty clear, but time's gonna tell a story on this one. Thanks.
Any further discussion? Member Newman.
Yeah, I was just remembering from the past that the valuations have to be, and there it is right there. Under Alaska law, property must be assessed at its full and true value, defined as the estimated market value as of January 1st. And given that the assessment is about 20% less than what that would be, and then given the comments by the appellant that initially it looked like his numbers were at least 30%. So he's should be happy with the numbers that are currently here. I'm guessing, but and then given the fact that there has been no sales to document the claim of diminished valuation, I support moving forward with the numbers.
Any further comments? Member Martin?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to see a market evidence before I would, but I'll be watching it, but I don't see it here.
Any further? Will the clerk please call the roll on the move to uphold the assessment, et cetera, that the motion was?
Vice Mayor Stanton Greger,
Yes.
Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Valentine,
Yes.
Member Newman,
Yes.
Member Schwartz,
Yes.
Member Mucci.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion to uphold the assessment passes unanimously. Brings us on to appeal number 2. All right, bear with me.
This Moyer.
Yeah, Cynthia Moyer, item B, parcel number 03-244-180, appeal number 2026-08. Is Ms. Moyer here today? She's zooming in by chance, clerk.
No, she is not.
I believe the correct protocol then will be to defer to the assessor.
Yes.
Martins, the floor is yours.
Property with parcel ID number 03-244-180. It's a remote cabin. We discussed the property value with the property owner, and property owner was concerned about foundation settling and deck issues, and there's, I guess, a cracked window. And the last time we reviewed the property was in 2023, which is about 3 years ago. And so our recommendation was to make adjustment for the building value to reflect the current condition. And the land value, we recommended no change. It appeared to be consistent with other lots in immediate vicinity. So our recommendation was to adjust the value for the building to 60,600, and land is no change, 39,100, and the total is 99,700. And you have available the
We don't have that data here, do we?
you should have, there's like an email chain with the property owner. Unfortunately, in this property,
Page 58 or 56.
it's
excuse me.
I see 56, but I don't see.
55 through 58.
Roger.
Yeah, I got it.
And in this property, we talked to the property owner a couple of times, and I just asked if there's some pictures or any other evidence, because I just used whatever information we had from the property owner. I also sent a picture to the property owner from our last inspection. And property owner did say that they'll send us some additional information, some additional pictures, which I never received. Another thing I recommended is that if we can inspect the property this summer. I asked for permission from the property owner if we can walk on the property, and there's some specific things property owner would like us to review. We can certainly review this summer. Again, it's a remote property. Unless property owner is present, we do not go and on a private property. We look at the property either from the street, or in this case, from the beach side. So therefore, with our, whatever information we had submitted by property owner, we did recommend change for the total assessed value. And so that's our recommendation, is change for the building value to 60,600, and initial value was 68,300, and the total value for the property is 99,700. Thank you.
Roger, thank you for that clarification. Just make sure I got that right. 60,600 for the building and 99,700 for the total. Thank you, sir. Since there is no appellant here, do you have anything else you wanted to add, Martins?
No.
Okay. I'm sure I'm keeping this in line here. Questions for us?
For Martins. If I read through this correctly, the appellant Cindy, you know, came out with, hey, there's issues with the house, and then you came back with a lower rate to adjust for that without proof. She wasn't able to give you more, and then she wanted still less, but was not able to get you proof in the short
That's correct.
until now, right? Okay, thank you.
Member Schwartz.
So no pictures of the tree damage or rotting deck?
I've never received the pictures. This picture was taken in 2023, which property owner said about that time, that's when the tree came down. From the picture, I can tell that there's been 2 or 3 trees cut on the right-hand side, but I couldn't see any other damage. And there was, I asked the property owner if they can send us some pictures. I'm sure there's some friends or neighbors that go out there, pass the cabin every maybe other day, if they can take a picture of the damage, but I never received any of those pictures.
Okay.
Member Newman, you had a question?
Yeah, I'm just curious where this is located.
Up in Duncan.
Oh, it's in Duncan Canal.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know where that one is.
So the
Yeah,
mill
but-
rate is like 4% or 4 mils.
Yeah, 4 point something, yeah. Given the appellant is not here and through Martin's testimony, I would move to uphold the assessment because the appellant has failed to meet their burden of establishing the assessment is unequal, excessive, or improper based on the evidence presented today.
So move.
Second.
Motion been made by member Mucci and seconded by member Valentine. Further discussion by the assembly or the Board of Equalization, sorry? Yeah.
Well, the difference in, it's $8,300, and it doesn't take that long to spend $8,300 on rotten decks and trees falling on your cabin, but I don't see any evidence.
Not yet.
So
Perhaps next season.
That's the issue.
Yep, because basing on the evidence presented today. Further discussion from the Board of Equalization? Will the clerk please call the roll to uphold?
Member Mucci,
Yes.
member Schwartz,
Yes.
member Newman,
Yes.
member Valentine, member Martin,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stanton Greger.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion to uphold passes unanimously. Bringing us over to Andy Wright, parcel number 01-031-566, appeal number 2026-14. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Wright, and you can start the clock when you're set.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I started to prepare my case to contest my property assessment, and then after reviewing the assessor's findings coupled with the actual application form itself, I decided it was counterproductive. With language like applicant must provide overwhelming evidence and documentation, and BOE members are compelled to support the assessor. And by the way, you only have 3 minutes to present your case. I feel like those two things are mutually exclusive. The process is heavily slanted in favor of the borough. I understand why. Honestly, I'm not here to quibble over the value of my property. In fact, you can scratch me off the list. I'd like to take my time just to make a statement for the people who will be trying to raise families in the new reality, those who may not have the ability or resources to defend themselves. I am uncomfortable with the divisiveness of this process. I feel we should be uniting as a team instead of this us against them situation we seem to be in. And I fear if it doesn't change, it will get worse. I can see the current formula is designed for litigation. At some point, when enough people are affected, they may come to the conclusion that if the city has an assessor, the only antidote is for the people to organize and have the people's assessor, with the whole thing headed towards district court, potentially on a yearly basis. This scenario is not good for anyone. I would suggest we explore different options. Consider putting all tower-related assessments on hold. Spend the next year passing as much regulatory leverage as possible. Embrace the fact that property values near towers will be affected, and they will be. It's a fine line between did property value depreciate or did someone look at it and it didn't appreciate? You can't look out your window and see a tower and say it didn't affect the property. In your situation, you are compelled to have to see it that way, and I get that. Embrace the fact that property values near towers will be affected and document it for future potential damage recovery. This would have far more upside potential financially than sparring over individual property values. Everyone here, especially assembly members, should be connecting with senators and other federal and state officials, raising the alarm that federal taxpayers' dollars are being used in a way that is going to cause financial harm to the city and borough of Petersburg.
30 seconds.
The city will be damaged. The sooner that is acknowledged, the better. In the end, I believe that common sense is overwhelming evidence. I sat here for 3 hours yesterday, and I watched what I thought was a great example of collective troubleshooting. I think we have an outstanding team of articulate, analytical people here. The fish box tax was a good example. I thought I knew where I would stand on that issue. Mr. Giesbrecht did an exemplary job of finding the pitfalls and getting the ship headed in the right direction. So, in closing, and in vein of common sense, ask yourself this. If you were to wake up tomorrow and you open the curtain and the sun is shining on a huge tower looming over your home, would you jump for joy and yell out, "I finally got that tower I've always wanted"? Or would you do what I did, slam the door and say, "What the actual hell?"
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Martin's rebuttal, if you'd like. Actually, I'm gonna do a point of clarification real quick. Let me know if I'm out of line on this, like, do you really want to pull your appeal?
I make a statement.
We'll still have to vote on it, of course. I just want to make, just for the procedure.
May I?
Yeah, good.
Address that?
Quickly, yeah, I just want
Yeah,
territory for me.
I see the rock and the hard place situation here. I get it.
Cool, we'll go through the process, but got it. Martins, care to rebut at all?
Thank you. Yeah, the property is located at 237 Bitcoff Highway. I talked to property owner on the cell phone, also sent a couple emails. I 100% agree, not agree, but I 100% understand the properties, all the property owners' concerns about the cell tower, about, proposed cell tower out in Papkeys. The reason I moved out from Anchorage is just because I didn't want to be in the middle of the city, just like, people living in Petersburg or Wrangell. And, I probably wouldn't want to look at the cell tower as well. But we just have to go by what the sales are, what the market is showing. And if there is a change, let's say even next year or a year from 2 years from now, we'll make those adjustments. Currently, it's too soon. It's only been 2 or 3 months since the tower was built. And if there is changes, we'll make those changes. Currently, we have the sales that we have, which indicates there's no change in the value. The only indication we have that the properties are still under assessed. So in this case, we still recommend no change in assessed value for this property. Thank you.
Martins, further rebuttal, Mr. Wright? Anything you'd like to add? Martins, did you have anything else to add for your other 3 minutes? I'll just put it out there then to follow by the way, and thank you for your candor, Mr. Wright, appreciated that. I would move to uphold the assessment because the appellant has failed to meet their burden of establishing the assessment is unequal, excessive, or improper based on the evidence presented today.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made by Member Mucci and seconded by Member Valentine. Any discussion before? we go on?
Yes.
Yes, Member Mucci.
Yeah, it brings up a good point about this. How do we quantify if property values are affected by a location to a cell tower? How do you quantify that?
Moving forward.
We've got Giesbrecht.
Not part of the process. I have an observation. We've all been experiencing how fast property values are going up. Not anything to do with cell towers one way or the other, but just absolutely, we've talked about housing issues and stuff. So, your question's valid. And if, for example, we had 50 vacant houses in town, you might see a difference on houses close to a cell phone, because I can look at a house that isn't near a cell phone tower and another one that is. And that changes the valuation because it changes what houses sell for. Because property is so dear right now and because values keep going up, you're not going to see a lot of changes in the valuations because of something like a cell tower.
And to your point, Mr. Manager, that's what Martins was saying before. As we look at this over time, we'll learn one way or another. You can see a pretty clear cause and effect. Like, if we end up with these dead zones around towers on property values, that's pretty clear data, So Member Mucci, that's kind of, the market will dictate it. If I'm speaking on, but anyway, that's kind of off the topic of this appeal, actually.
Apologize. Sorry.
Go ahead, Rob. Then I'm going to bring it back to the appeal at hand.
You bet, but I've listened. There's more towers gonna go up. I don't think it's gonna, with the supply demand that Steve's talking about, and I hate to even use this phrase, beggars can't be choosers, but if you're looking for a roof to put over your children's heads, you might not want the tower there, but it might be there anyway. Just because there's not that much supply and there's a lot of demand. That's all I had on that one.
Anything specifically related to this appeal case? Clerk, please call the roll to uphold.
Member Schwartz,
Yes.
Member Mucci,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stanton Greger,
Yes.
Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Valentine,
Yes.
Member Newman.
Yes.
None. The motion to uphold passes unanimously, bringing us to Shannon Vandervest, parcel number 02-131-010, appeal number 2026-15. Whenever you're ready. Oh, I'll let you hand those things out before we start your time.
It's been, one of properties that Martin has chosen are not. Other compatible properties, that's really saying. I will not be reading this off because you guys have that in front of you at the moment.
All right, the floor is yours.
Okay, I'm appealing the 159% increase in my land value. I'm not appealing my improvement value. The parcels that Martins have used to value my property are not related closely enough in order for their value to be used fairly. I have placed the 9 of the 11 parcels that Martins has used to compare my property into categories that explain why they're non-comparable to my property. The other 2 out of the 11 I have used as comparisons. Many of the 9 parcels fall into more than one of the categories. When assessing land values, properties must compare in size, otherwise you're comparing apples to oranges. My property is 238,273 square feet. So lands under, say, 174,240 square feet, which is 4 acres, should not be considered comparable. Mine is 5.47 acres. That would determine 7 of the 11 parcels to be non-comparable to my property. 2 of the smaller properties have prime beachfront compared to my 300 feet plus of tidal mud flats. 7 of the properties are located directly off Metcalf Highway, which is plowed and maintained by the state. My property is located off a gravel 1-lane road that I paid to have built, that I have to maintain, and that I have to plow. Those expenses are up to me. 1 of the properties has Twin Creeks as a border. My property does not have beautiful Twin Creeks as a border. 5 of the properties were sold by Alaska Mental Health, which appraises the property at the highest possible value and then adds an additional 30% to the over-counter sales. These do not make good comparisons because they were sold at Mental Health's inflated prices. And the last parcel that is non-comparable is the parcel at Blind Slough located in prime sport fishing territory sold at auction. 5 properties that compare to my property. I know it's standard procedure to go off sale values, but when one has unique piece of acreage because of the size like I do, there are limited comparable property sales to go off of. I use the current 2026 assessed values in some cases. The properties below compared to my properties in many ways. 1, they're beachfront with tidal mudflats. 2, they were once only accessible by water at higher tides. 3, they now have their own road beyond their driveway to plow and maintain. 4, they paid for the building of the road, not their driveway, to access their land. 5, they were not bought as a large parcel and then subdivided to increase their value. 6, they all have partial sloping land. 7, they were not purchased for mental health. 8, most have some areas of unusable land like muskeg or drainages. Most are comparable in size and they're in similar locations to mine. Your handout shows the details of each of these. The average price per square foot of the comparable lots is 40 cents a square feet. Based on the facts that 11 of the 13 chosen lots from Martins do not truly compare to my property's characteristics, I think it's apparent that our current assessed value of $1.04 a square foot is a very inflated value. This does not accurately reflect the 40-cent property values that I have included that have many similar comparisons to my property. It's 40 cents a square foot. Also, the $1.04 a square foot does not reflect the appreciation. In 2024, my property was assessed at $83,400, which is 35 cents a square foot. In 2025, it was at $95,300, which is 40 cents a square foot, which is a 14% increase. And in 2026, it was assessed at $246,900 at $1.04 square feet, which is a 159% increase. In closing, I would like to ask that my property be valued at the 45 cents a square foot to reflect the same rate of appreciation as my correctly valued 2024 and 2025 assessment. This would make my new and correct appraisal value at $107,222. If you round up, it'd be $107,223.
Thank you, Shannon. Martins?
Thank you. Property is located at Popke's Landing. It's 5.446 acre parcel. Also has a couple of buildings. The building values are at 39,600, and the land value initially was valued at 246,900. We proposed adjustment to 199,200, or about 84 cents per square foot, with the total assessed value changing from 286,500 238,800, and the property valuation is based for vacant land is based on sales, based on lot sizes, location, and other adjustment. And we did review all the vacant lot and improved values for Popke's Landing last fall, based on the sales. We don't have many sales out there. There are a few sales, and we have collected those sales over past couple of years, and some of them are higher, some of them are lower. What we do an average of how certain size lots are selling for, and we don't even assess at the 100% value. We come down a little bit from that. And the way that we build the model is we collect all the waterfront sales, and we look at how much, for example, 20,000 square foot lot is selling for. That's one of the sales. Then we look at a couple other sizes, and the largest lot sale that we have, those waterfront didn't have access, was 194,000 square feet. So we don't have, it's kind of rare. Just generally, there's not many 5.46 acre lots, waterfront lots, available. So therefore, we don't have that sales that are that great and that for that size lots. And so we have to make adjustments for the size. And our proposed adjustment is 84 cents per square foot, or 199,200. And I have listed a couple of sales, about 11, 12 sales. A couple of sales I have listed that they have no access, or at the time of the sale, first 2 sales, parcel 02, 131, 200, and 210. At the time of the sale, they did not have an access. Later on, they built a road. Cell number 3 is a remote lot, doesn't have any access, very high sale, kind of like an outlier. Another note is that if there are some high outlier sales, we don't use them. Unless down the road, we have 4 or 5 outlier sales, that those are not outliers anymore. That's the market value at the time. So I've listed a couple of sales. As you can see, they are depending on the size and how much they are selling per square foot. Also, I've included a map where they are. And I feel like 84 cents per square foot is within the range how much these lots are selling for. Thank you.
The appellant has 3 more minutes if you'd like.
See, Martin says that smaller properties are worth more than larger acreage. So I'm wondering why he is using 8 much smaller properties, some at inflated values due to subdivision or mental health sales as a true comparison to my 5.47 acres. He also says that he used properties at Papke's to determine my values. He has used only 2 properties from Papke's, and I used those in my comparisons. I agreed with him. Martin stated he made adjustments to values when property owners proved through comparable properties that their property was overvalued. I have proved using 5 comparable properties that my parcel has been grossly overvalued. 2 of these properties were based on sale values. One of them is 4 lots south of mine. The other one is at Papke's. Martin stated that if there are few land sales, then he has to figure out how to get to the assessed value. So there are only 2 land sales that truly compare to my property, and they are priced at 45 cents a square foot and at 41 cents a square foot. These properties fit all of the 11 similarities that I listed. That is why on the other 3 comparable properties, though, I had to use the assessed 2026 values to figure out what my assessed value might be. There was no sale there. So in his own words, he has to figure out how to get to the total assessed value if there are not comparable property sales. So these properties, the other 3 properties that I used by using the assessed property values from this year came out to 44 cents a square foot, 37 cents a square foot, and 32 cents a square foot, which they averaged out to 40 cents a square feet. And I'm asking for an adjustment at 45 cents a square foot, which would show my appreciation the same as it had in 2024 to 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vandervest.
Oh, sorry, can I say one last thing?
Yeah, you got time, of course.
Okay. The state also said, Martin also says that this state requires you to make micro adjustments every year. And he mentioned it to be like a 6 to 8% appreciation. I'm just wondering how 159% adjustment in 1 year is a micro adjustment. Thank you.
You. Rebuttal from the assessor?
We do, to answer some of your questions, I was just taking notes. We do use mental health trust sales. They are publicly available. They're always recorded so you can see the amounts, how much properties are selling for. And there are 2 ways how you can buy those properties. One is actually 3 ways. One is auction over the counter, or you can approach mental health trust, and if they agree to sell it, then you can purchase that. Auction is usually the value is set by the beginning value is set by appraisal. For example, the property appraises for $100,000. That's your starting bid. Over the counter is appraised value plus 30%. So for example, or 20%, or they always, just because you're buying over the counter, they always add certain percentage to that price. So for example, the property is appraised at $100,000 and they add 20 or 30 or whatever percentage, that is your purchase price. That's how much you paid for the property is $130,000 or $120,000. It's not $100,000. It's premium you pay, so you don't have to go through auction. And we use a model where I did include some of the smaller lots just to show how those are assessed. They're assessed at they're selling for more, and they're also assessed for higher value per square footage just because they're smaller lots. And then I've included map on page 91 to show you how each one of those lots are assessed and highlighted the subject property at 84 cents per square foot. And also the state doesn't require us to review or adjust the values every year. The values are being adjusted for based on the sales. And again, in some of the locations, unfortunately, we might not have many sales, or there might be one higher sale one year and then a couple of sales down the road. That's why sometimes, unfortunately, there could be situations where 4 or 5 years from now, some of the properties, they do get reviewed and adjusted at the higher assessed value. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Questions from the board? Actually, I'll open with it. Martins, let me pull this up here. I'm on page 88, and it said you ended up with your recommendation is to have it the assessed value of 199,200 for the land and a total of 238. What was the number you had before that, before you came down to that number? 246?
246.
Thank you, James. It's okay. My second follow-up to that would be, what led to that reduction in this process?
We're always more conservative with the higher value, bigger acreage lots, just because the pool of the buyers seems to be, let's say if you have 100 acres, nobody's going to pay you $5 million for it, right? It's
Sure.
so the value per square footage decreases quite a bit as the property gets bigger. And so what I did, I looked at obviously also the average of how much bigger lots are selling per square footage, and I gave more weight for those sales. And I looked at also what is the highest sale we have for vacant lot, and it was $250,000, but everything else sells about 185, 192, 168, 165, again, depending on the size and the axis.
Yep.
And for those reasons, I felt like it's reasonable to make adjustment.
Come down a little bit. Got it. Thank you. Further questions from the board? Member Martin, you'll get them to go with.
Well, it was interesting. It seemed a little bit circular to say that mental health sales over the counter are offered assessed plus 30%, but then that's used as a comparable. It just seems kind of circular. Like I could just as easily say, I'm going to use that comparable you provided and subtract 30% to find a reasonable assessed value.
So it's so the reason why they're adding, I'm assuming, I'm not sure, is, for example, if the same lot goes on the auction and the beginning bid is $100,000, it's probably going to sell for more than that. So they're probably accounting for some of that, and some property owners do decide. Or it's similar to if you're buying a home, the starting price might be $400,000, and there are 10 people bidding for it. Eventually, they're going to pay $450,000, maybe $460,000, or it could be other way around, that the house is listed for $400,000 and nobody's buying it, and you might end up paying $380,000. So essentially, what you pay is the purchase price for the property, and for the mental health trust, some people do decide to buy properties over the counter because they don't want to. Maybe they might end up paying more if it goes on auction. I don't know, maybe less. But that's kind of your first bid. You don't have to compete with anybody else, so you're willing to pay more for that piece of land rather than going through the auction.
Further questions? No, unless somebody asks you something directly. Sorry, Mrs. Vandervest. Member Schwartz.
It's the Martins. So I'm looking at the map where Shannon's property is. And I'm not seeing any other property on the map that's really comparable. And certainly down the Narrows where there's bigger lots, I'm not seeing any that have sold recently. Is that correct?
I can't think of, I think farther at mile 11 and 12, I think there might be some bigger lots, but until Baptist Landing, I don't think we have any 5.46 over 5 acre lots. Yeah, there's not many that big of lots. I think the biggest one on the map I have, there's one that is assessed at $1.11 per square footage, and I forgot the size, but it's not at 5 acres. I think it's like 3 acres or something. That's but I think, yeah, the larger lots that we have the sales for are about 100 and there's one at 194,000 square feet, but about 150. That's about a little bit over 3 acres.
I have one more question. So when it jumped from 40 cents a square foot to $1 or was that 84?
Or is
That's
it
where
80
it's settled on, 84 cents
Has it numbers
currently.
84 cents a square
Right,
foot.
right
Currently,
now.
Right now.
Okay, so it went from 40 to 84 cents square foot. Is that right? That's what it's going to?
Yes.
So my question is, did that set a light bulb off in your head that that's a huge jump?
It's a unfortunately bigger jump. We don't see those kind of jumps too often or almost at all. Fortunately, every now and then could be some properties that maybe were either missed or undervalued in the past, and then it is a big jump.
Just a quick clarifier on that one. I'm glad you asked that question, Member Schwartz. So if I'm hearing you right then, and it feels redundant, but just for my own clarity, that's what the market is getting in sales right now.
Yes, yes. Those
Like-
where we have
But it seems hard to compare right now, which is kind of what everyone's juggling up here, you know.
it is this as we have these kind of larger, a little bit unusual lots. Those are we do make bigger adjustments. So there isn't, if you're looking apple to apple, we'll never find even for different size lots. It's rare when there are two exactly the same properties. Each property is a little bit different. So we try to make adjustments based on size and location to get to that market value.
Further questions? Let's keep going.
Questions, no. A discussion into the.
Any, let's
vote.
see if there's any questions for Shannon or for Martins. Member Newman.
I'm looking at this other information from a previous appeal, and it says market appreciation trends indicate, like you say, 6 to 8% annually. So this is, you know, from 2025, she paid 95,300, or that was what it was assessed at, to now it's 199. So it's like it's more than double. And I don't know, given that it seems like there's no clear and solid comparables, I'm having a hard time with this.
So was it assessed in 2005? Was there like a site visit and like it was?
There was a site visit, but we do not like Popkey's. It's one of those subdivisions where we don't have that many sales. There are like waterfront sales. There's not many waterfront sales, and then sales that are not on the water. Maybe we have 1 or 2 per year. So sometimes for locations like that, we might have to wait a year or 2 or 3 years before we make adjustments. And for example, this year there was a Native Corporation purchased a vacant lot for $175,000, right? And that's half an acre. That's one of the sales we are not using just because it's a huge outlier. But for example, what if we go 3 or 4 years from now and we have 5 sales like that? Then those are not really outliers anymore. At that point, that's kind of the market, I guess people are paying. And that's just assumption. I don't think we'll see any sales that crazy anytime soon, but that's unfortunately does happen for these kind of locations, that we don't have too many sales. And once we have, our ratios are very low, we have to make adjustments, a couple of years from now. But unfortunately, sometimes, yeah, it's a could be bigger jump.
Member Valentine.
Yeah, thank you. Based off of what we have to do today, I think that Shannon prepared a very good, I don't know if you want to call it homework, but answers to homework. And the jump being as large as it is, and based off of some sales that I don't see as fitting, and it's such a huge jump. And then she compared to other property values of similar size, and she was able to break it down, and I could see the homework in front of me, and I really enjoyed that. I think that Shannon, you did a very good job here. Thank you.
Was it prepared?
One question for Martin.
Yeah, of course, Member Martin.
So Martins, I've heard, I don't know this firsthand, but mental health offers some very favorable financing, like money down, but no real application process. I don't know what the rates are, but can that figure into the inflating the comparable sale?
I think that, yeah, good question. I'm not sure if they have financing for our, if you approach Mental Health Trust and you want to buy a property from them, but I know they do offer financing for auctions and for over-the-counter properties. And there is, I think it probably opens up more, actually, more availability for people to buy land if they do offer, good financing terms in that case. And again, I mean, we just go by whatever people pay for these lots. And then we try to analyze why they paid this much. And actually, Mental Health Trust sales are kind of one of the better indications because that's a open market transaction. It's not like the Native Corporation lot when they purchased the lot to potentially develop it in something else. So they had different means and goals why they purchased the lot. But to answer your question, I guess I think it opens up more land availability for the people to buy just because of better terms. Whether that inflates the values, I don't know. It's I don't. I've heard there is some lots that have sold for a little bit higher values just because Mental Health Trusts do have they have some prime property, right? They have property on the water, so people are interested in buying them. But again, we have multiple sales from Mental Health Trust, and they are all they're high sales. And like I mentioned before, one sale could be an outlier, but if you have 5, 6, 7 sales from Mental Health Trust and they're all pretty high, I mean, then I guess people are willing to pay that amount. That answers your question, maybe.
Good enough.
All right. So something for myself is I'm just thinking out loud for both Martins and the appellant. I want to just briefly echo what Valentine said. Shannon, appreciate just all the data. Solid. Here's where I'm getting hung up on both sides of this. I cannot, seeing such a large jump. I know what property values are doing in Petersburg, but I know it's still big. Where I'm getting stuck is on our grounds here because we started at 246. The assessor's office is like, fair enough, we can come down 238. Seems like a more reasonable thing. I'm getting stuck in the language of an assessment must be more than simply overvalued. I think you could argue that Shannon's may be overvalued or not. I feel like I could argue it either way when I look at all these different things. And I feel like I'd be right either way too, for that matter. And that's not the right wording, but I feel like I can make a compelling argument either way when I look at the comparables. Just for myself, as much as I again, could easily talk myself into where Shannon's coming from on her number, I'm having a time with the word grossly disproportionate to potentially simply overvalued in terms of the very rigid language we've been given. And in terms of the unequal, some are equal, some are not on there. The comparables are hard. So, I'm gonna look at that language. The appellant must demonstrate that there are other properties in the same class that there is no reasonable basis to justify the difference. The language is so rigid, so it makes it hard for me at this point. The improper, obviously, no one's alleging the assessor's office did anything improper. Martin's just doing his job. And so anyway, those are the things I'm bouncing around right now on this thing because of that very rigid language. Especially given the somewhat lowering of value from 246 to 238, that it definitely doesn't show anything improper or an attempt to not to be grossly disproportionate. Anyway, I'm just bouncing it around. I'll give the floor back for more discussion before we make a motion somewhere. Member Newman, you had your hand out.
I'm going to go with unequal to show that an assessment is unequal. The appellant must demonstrate that there are other properties within the same class and there is no reasonable basis to justify difference in the valuation. After looking at you know, it just doesn't seem like there's, you know, a clear and definite comparable because of the uniqueness of this land. And so given that, the disparity between the two would be inconsistent.
I'm in agreement with Scott. I'm thinking maybe something halfway there, meet in the middle type thing, 62 cents or something sounds reasonable considering the uncertainty with the unequal comparables.
I don't think we can make,
Can.
oh,
Sorry not to interrupt you.
Can't
member.
negotiate.
I thought it's either what she says or the
Nope,
appellant says.
I'll, as a data point for you, on your next page, this is not me making a motion,
Oh.
Clerk Regula, just giving an example. You know, I would move to, an example would be to just evaluation to, and you could say X amount per foot or whatever that would be. Based on the appellant, their evidence. You see what I'm talking about now, yeah?
Yep,
So, but no, it's not a negotiation.
that's
we
on page
just-
2, I didn't see.
It's we have to make a thing. If somebody would care to do that, feel free. Otherwise, further discussion around the thing. Unless somebody wants you to.
I will ask a question to Shannon to clarify something, please.
I just wanted to clarify that I do have a sale in my notes, or two, that show the value, and one of those was from over-the-counter 30% up mental health that I used. And so there are proven sales in my comparables for the price. Thanks.
I think I'd like to move to adjust the valuation to 62 cents per square feet
Finish the sentence.
because the appellate has met their burden by establishing that the assessment is unequal based upon the evidence presented included.
There's a second.
Second.
Motion to reduce the valuation of square footage to, again, 62 cents per square foot has been made by member Martin and seconded by member Mucci. Discussion.
I have it right here. I'm gonna do the quick math for everybody.
Thank you, sir.
So give me a second here.
Quick.
Yeah. Calculators.
Question, how do we arrive at this 62 cents?
Member Martin, explain. I think you were starting.
Yeah.
If you'd like.
It was very subjective. I just went halfway between her,
I split the difference.
40 and 82.
I am going to not vote for that because I believe that Shannon has provided enough evidence to be valued at the 45 cents and that is keeps in track with the 6% of being raised year by year. And then Shannon, if you sell, you let us know and then we can adjust from there, right? But
Sorry.
I will not be going for 62. Thank you.
Go ahead, member Newman.
Yeah,
Wait,
Shannon
oh.
says in closing, I'd like to ask my property to be valued at 45 cents, which is about a 10% increase. And according to this paragraph and another, market appreciation trends are like 6 to 8% annually, so a 10% would be
Still up.
pretty, very reasonable in my estimation.
Thank you, member Newman.
I have a clarifying question.
Sure.
So if we are to vote on the 62 and it fails, does that fall back to the assessor or do we go back to square one?
Back to the square one where we make another motion.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yep, so since we're on the motion's been made on the floor, I don't feel great about 62, but I'm on the other end of the thing. I think the burden of proof hasn't quite been met. That said, though, I can probably vote for that because it is, if we're talking about quote unquote splitting the difference, I'm all about compromise. I think the best compromises are the ones where no one's particularly happy. So like, I guess I'm not positive yet, but I could be inclined to vote for this. I would definitely not be voting for something in the 40s. That's just me, but so I'll likely vote for the 62. Any further discussion on that?
I have a point of clarification.
Please and thank you.
So if you look on, I think we will need to have the land value and the improvements value and then come up with the total value.
Okay.
That is the paperwork that I would need to fill out.
Okay.
Okay, so the improvement value would stay the same?
Yeah.
And then the land value, thank you.
So Any further discussion on that? Will the clerk please call the roll on that, the valuation at 62 cents per square foot for the land?
Member Mucci,
Yes.
Member Schwartz,
No.
Vice Mayor Stanton Greger,
Yes.
Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Valentine,
No.
Member Newman.
No.
Okay, 4 yes. Motion passes.
Nope, that was a 3-4. I believe it failed,
Or-
clerk regular.
I think it's 3.
3-3, sorry, yeah.
So.
Back to the drawing board for a motion.
Right.
I'd like to make a motion to adjust the valuation to 45 cents a square foot to because the appellant has met their burden by establishing the assessment is unequal based upon the evidence presented, including the following evidence.
Second.
And since I.
Made by member Valentine, second by member Schwartz. The floor is yours, member Valentine.
Thank you. So with the thought of Shannon providing, or Ms. Vandervest, sorry, providing her evidence, I also feel that the assessor was also struggling as well to find a bearing for this property as well. So I don't see a strong evidence on the assessor side as well. So, and I feel that there's a stronger evidence for what Ms. Vandervest has brought to us. And that's why today I have brought up the 45 cents square foot. Thank you.
Member Valentine, further discussion? I made it clear already that I'll be voting no on that one. I think splitting the difference seemed like a more reasonable place to come from. I don't think it meets that strong a burden of proof, so my 2 cents. Unless there's further discussion, will the clerk call the roll on, what was the number again, James? Remember?
45.
45. Thank you, sir.
Vice Mayor Stanton Greger,
No.
Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Valentine,
Yes.
Member Newman,
Yes.
Member Mucci,
Yes.
Member Schwartz.
All right. The Board of Equalization sides with the appellant on parcel 202-131-010. Is that an appropriate way to say that, Clerk Regula?
Yes.
All right, cool. Thank you, Ms. Vandervest, for your testimony. On to item E, Ben Hind, parcel number 01-006-224, appeal number 2026-17. And I would like to take a 5-minute break before we get into that.
I second that.
We'll get back in about 35 after. Good call, Member Schwartz. Is back in session. All right, let me get,
Okay, Ben, let's just check the audio. Can you hear me okay? I just want to check and make sure I can hear you.
Mr. Susort, we're back in session, please.
I can't
Thank you,
hear
sir.
you. Go ahead and say something else, Ben. Okay, I can't hear you over the speakers. Do you have yourself unmuted? Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna hold my phone up to the mic because for some reason it's not coming over. Hang on just a second. Okay, go. Okay, go ahead.
Did my turn to talk? Yell into it.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Ben. And let's see if we can hear you. I'm holding my phone up to the mic. Just checking. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, go ahead. Should he go ahead and start his
He's
appeal
ready.
process? Okay, go ahead. You are up for 3 minutes.
Okay. Well, thank you for taking my call. And good afternoon. I am really, I guess, just going through the process too. Long time, I guess, observer, first time participant. I agree with what Mr. Wright said earlier about the methodology and the troublesomeness of it all. There are pretty tall guardrails to this process, and I don't know that it's likely to have a successful appeal, but what I'm really just shooting for, I can hear feedback, is what is going on is my 507 property is connected adjacent to my 501, and the 507 has increased by 27.88% from last year, 14 from the year before. I've only owned that property for a couple of years. The 501 property I've lived in off and on since 1981. That is currently being assessed by the square foot at $7.03. And now this 507 with that 27.88% is at just about $8.98. And so for simple math, that 507 property is 38% smaller and being assessed at 21.71% higher by unit of measurement per square foot. That's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Hind. Martins, the floor is yours. I almost called you Mr. Sousa. Apologies. Looking right at him. All right.
Thank you. I discussed the property appeal with the property owner, and the concerns property owner brought up was that the land value is not valued consistently. And the land size is about 6,180 square feet, which is pretty typical size lot. The average lots are about that size in town site, with the smallest ones being about 5,000 square feet. And then we have a couple larger ones that goes up to 10,000 square feet, but that's kind of the typical sizes, anywhere between 5 to 10,000 square feet, with some exceptions being larger. And so also we did revalue quite a few the town site lots and assign the values based on the size and square footage. And as we mentioned earlier, the values were assigned based on the smaller lots were assigned the higher price per square footage, and then as the lot increased in size, that price per square footage decreased a little bit. And that's all based on we had some couple sales, and we also looked at, well, what if we value the land in this way, how the total value of the properties will change, and it was still supported by the sales. If anything, it was still the properties are selling for quite a bit more what the current rates are. And I have attached also an email trying to explain the property owner how we came up with these values. And on page 103, you have a map of all the values, how the town site has been assessed, and it's all consistent. As you can tell, we get a couple smaller lots. Those are about $10 per square foot. Those are little 5,000 square foot town site lots. And then anything that's smaller than that is assessed at lower price per square footage. And we don't have too many vacant lot sales downtown. So I always like to use examples just to show how that value per square footage is changing from other different locations. And we have most of the small town site lots, 5,000 square foot lots, we have 2 or 3 sales, about $50,000. Actually, one lot sale was $100,000 for one of the small lots, but that's a very extreme outlier. So based on the review from last year, we compared the property, improved property sales, and the current value was supported. So our recommendation in this case, the values are assigned consistently across the board, and our recommendation was no change for this property. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hind, would you care to rebut?
He said he does not have anything further to add.
Cool. Martins, anything you'd like to add? No, sure.
Is that where we're next?
Yep.
Okay.
I was about to speak, but go right ahead. I'm in no
Sorry.
rush.
Martins, so across the board, and this is like statewide, smaller parcels in town tend to have higher square footage. That's just a normal thing.
Price per square foot.
Yeah, sorry, did I say that wrong? Yeah,
A little
sorry.
bit, but it's okay. We got
In
it.
most of the cases, yes. Again, we compare Petersburg to Petersburg.
Yeah,
we
okay.
look across the board. Yes, the smaller lots usually sell at the higher price per square footage as we go, like previous appeal, 5 acres, we agreed on what, 45 cents per square foot. Nothing downtown, none of the townside lots are selling for 45 cents a square foot.
Yeah, right, okay.
They're selling for, quite a bit more than that.
Yeah, thank you, Martins. Yeah, just, I actually own property in that neighborhood and, noticed a jump in my property taxes as well. So I empathize with the appellant. That said, though, I don't, especially when we're looking at that map on page 103, nothing seems grossly disproportionate or, unequal. And again, nothing seems improper. That's just me thinking out loud. These are very consistent. Like I said on the last one, I felt like I could argue the other one either way. But this one I can't, so. Just get discussion rolling. I would entertain a motion to move to uphold the assessment because the applicant has failed to meet their burden of establishing the assessment is unequal, excessive, or improper based on the evidence presented today.
So move.
Moved by member Mucci and seconded by member Newman. Discussion. I'm just going to briefly open it to the appellant, Mr. Hind. I empathize with you greatly as a fellow resident of that neighborhood who also incurs more burden. Further discussion from the assembly?
Yes, oh yeah, Schwartz, he was.
Well, I'm just looking around at the neighboring properties. I had property a couple blocks down from, and it was, yeah, I see what you're saying, Jay.
Sir. Further discussion from the assembly? No, Member Newman, of course.
Just one comment, and that's there was no raise in the assessments for 2025. So it would seem like you get a little jump in 2026. It's over a 2-year period. So that, it plays into it.
No? Do you have anything, Mr.?
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that difference. Smaller lots being valued more per square foot. I don't, it's a big can of worms. It's being applied all over the town. I don't think it qualifies under improper grounds, even though I don't know how to feel about it. So I think I have no choice but to uphold the assessor's value.
Completely agree. Anything further? Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Stanton Greger,
Yes.
Member Valentine,
Yes.
Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Newman,
Yes.
Member Schwartz,
Yes.
Member Mucci.
Yes.
And the assembly votes to unanimously uphold the assessment. Moving on to, thank you, Mr. Hind, for calling in today. We do appreciate that, despite the outcome. Item F, John Mergus, parcel number 02-082-135, appeal number 26-21.
Good afternoon, everybody. I've never been to one of these meetings before, so this is all new to me. The text of that was between me and Martin's so basically that my appeal is speculative and hypothetical because I was referencing the proposed tower at Papke's and it has not been built yet. And so that just stopped everything right there. And so I can't really go any further if indeed it is speculative and hypothetical. I brought with me my dictionary and Webster here. The definition for speculative is risky, large risk, theoretical. And it's rather than a practical project. And then the other word that was used is hypothetical. The dictionary reference for that is based on conjecture rather than reality. It's a suggested idea or theory. Okay, the project is indeed a project. It was the first communication I received was from Tower not records, but the Tower Title Network, excuse me. And he called the head honcho there called me and just said, we're building a tower. And it's not theoretical, it's a project that is underway and continues to be underway. And so I don't think that ruling out my appeal based on the tower not existing is really the right thing. And everybody knows it's coming in. There's lots of publicity, lots of documentation. And because of that, the value of that property has indeed significantly dropped. There's a neighbor had a purchaser for his property that was dropped or didn't go through because the potential buyer backed off because of the tower coming in. And so I think that's a highlight of my appeal. Let's see if there's anything else to put here. Yeah, it covers most of it.
Thank you, Mr. Murgis. Martins? All right, you can take the podium, Martins.
Thank you, property owner. Property is located out in Papke's Landing. It's a vacant lot. It's exactly an acre. And the main concern that the property owner brought was that there's a proposed tower that's going to be built sometime in near future. I actually did drive out there, look at the property. Seems like there's already some work that's being done. It's the old the flower farm. And actually that lot is it's one of the outlier sales that we saw. It sold for, I believe, for $173,000 for half an acre. And again, we're not using that in our to set the values, but we use it right now in the BOE just to show how much some of these paying for these lots. Again, it's an outlier sale. We treat it as actually vacant lot sale just because they bought the property for the purpose of I guess building a tower. I've listed a couple other sales that are not waterfront sales. They are inland sales, and they're most of them actually are about the same size. About sale number 1 5 years ago, it's about 64,000 square feet. Then a couple sales about 1 acre, and the sales range is anywhere between 70 cents to this outlier being $7.23 per square foot, which even if we take out that sale, it's anywhere between 70 cents to $1.35 for a little bit larger lot. And the current assessed value is $1.12, which is actually right in the middle between high and low sale. Again, we're not including the high outlier sale. And it's similar to previous appeals that we don't have any data yet to show that there might be some market or value impacts for the property because of the tower that's not built yet. If there will be in the future, and we have again, like I said before, in Pop Case, we don't have too many sales. There's 1 or 2 sales per year. It might maybe show in a year or 2 years or 3 years if people start buying lots for less what's the assessed value. We can make adjustments, but currently a couple of sales have listed. Our values are in the middle between the average, between 70 cents and 35 is the high sale. So even for comparing to current sales, our assessed values are still a little bit below what the similar properties are selling for. I've also attached the map of all the sales that we have out there and a couple of comparables, and also on page 122 how properties are valued. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. It's almost right on 3 minutes. Good timing, guy.
Got a timer.
Mr. Murgis, would you care to rebut at all? Member Martin, you're out? No problem. Go ahead, Mr. Murgis.
The, one thing I forgot, overlooked in mentioning is that, I'm not so interested in the loss of dollars. I'm interested in the loss of wetlands and the value that the wetlands has. And it's similar like having a forest fire come through or a natural disaster of some sort. The lot is completely wooded wetlands. It has tremendous value of aviary animals and so forth. And so it's indeed a significant loss of value because of the wetlands issue. And it has really no function other than residential development. There's no opportunities there for any commercial or industrial applications because of its wooded nature. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murgis. Any rebuttal from you, Martins? I'll open I don't have any questions. Thank you for coming today too, Mr. Murgis. Just to address the issue of tower and value head on, because that's what we're talking about with the evidence presented today. As of now, I don't think you can say anything's been grossly disproportionate or unreasonable or improper, but I do believe, as we spoke earlier, and I'll probably speak again today, and as Martin said, as we move down the line, time will tell to see if property values are impacted, but as of now, we have no measurable data to say so. Any questions or comments from the board? For Mr. Murgis, for Martins?
Is there a motion on the floor then?
Nope.
Okay. I just wanted to say, I think we'd be insane to say that speculation doesn't affect market value, but I just don't see how we can do anything other than go by comparable sales. But I see what you're getting at.
Ditto. To facilitate discussion, I would entertain a motion to move to uphold the assessment because the appellant has failed to meet their burden of establishing the assessment is unequal, excessive, or improper based on the evidence presented today.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Member Mucci and seconded by Member Valentine. Any further discussion on this appeal? Member Schwartz.
Well, I might be wrong. I've been wrong before. It's human nature to speculate, but like Bobby's saying, it's at this point, we need to go with what's in front of us.
Absolutely, our very rigid criteria as it is right now. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Member Mucci,
Yes.
Member Schwartz,
Yes.
Member Martin, Member Valentine.
Yes.
Member Newman. Vice Mayor Stanton Greger.
Yes. That motion to uphold passes 5-1 with, I believe, Member Newman in opposition. Brings us on to item G, Mr. Murgis, parcel 02-082-130, appeal number 2026 22. Mr. Mergus, you'd be welcome to testify again if you'd like.
I wish to withdraw my appeal. And there's a third one also that I wish to withdraw. I do have one question of Mr. Martins, and could I ask that? No?
Sure, Martin's.
And the property that was purchased by Tower Network was purchased at a very anomalously high value. What effect is that going to have on all the neighboring the neighboring valuations in Papke's?
Oh.
Yeah, Martins, could you?
If that's okay.
I'll keep it clean. Martins, could you speak to how that could potentially impact future values? And Mr. Mergus, just to be clear, you want to forego that one and have us just proceed with the procedure of it, a vote on them? You don't want to testify to this one anymore?
Correct.
Just want to be very clear and make sure you're being respected. Martins.
There's no effect for the future values unless, like I said before, one sale is an outlier, maybe two sales is outliers still, but if you have maybe another 4, 5, 6 sales like that, selling for 7 times more what we are seeing, then we might have to look into revaluing these lots. But if it's only 1 sale or 2 sales, and from, again, experience from doing work all over Southeast, we're seeing that the tidal networks, they do pay quite a bit more than anybody else for properties where they want to build towers. So in this case, there's no future impact on the values. Unless we have another 5 or 6 similar sales that are selling for quite a bit more. But at the current, just for 1 sale, there's no future adjustments.
Thank you, Martins. Just to keep it proper, Mr. Mergus, would you like to add anything else to this one? Would you like to add anything else on this appeal? I appreciate your words on that one. And Martins, did you have anything else you wanted to add? Because even if he's foregoing, I'm going to go through the process anyway to keep it proper. Any questions from the board? In that case,
Question is if he withdrew them.
we still have to go through we're at the board. I think we should just go through the process and vote on it at this point, since we are already in Board of Equalization. Does that make sense to you, Clerk?
Yes, it does, because then we'll show
I
that
can keep it tight.
the board upheld the
I
decision.
should be very respectful of Mr. Mergus's rights as an appellant, so I think it feels cleaner to be respectful of the appellant. But I would entertain, I would move to, or I'd entertain a motion to uphold the assessment because the appellant has failed to meet their burden of establishing the assessment is unequal, excessive, or improper based on the evidence presented today.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Member Valentine and seconded by Member Martin, Member Martin. Any further discussion from the
Just a
assembly?
question.
Of course.
So in regards to the motion, I mean, if Mr. Mergus has just withdrawn his appeal, isn't that
I think it's good to go through the process since, we came.
but I mean, wouldn't that be the motion that he has withdrawn his appeal?
No, I think we need to do it tight.
The clerk provides forms that indicate what the Board of Equalization decided.
Okay.
So we'll just we'll just go through each one and
Thank
have
you.
a vote. Thank
Formality
you.
is important at this stage. Any further discussion?
I guess I'd see it as respectful of the assessor and not so much Mr. Mergus.
Well, to all parties. Sorry, Martins didn't mean neglect either. It's respectful to all parties. Seeing none, will the clerk call the roll on this parcel?
Member Mucci,
Yes.
Member Schwartz,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stanton Greger,
Yes.
Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Valentine,
Yes.
Member Newman.
Yes.
The motion to uphold passes unanimously, bringing us to item H. John Mergus, parcel number 202-082-125, appeal number 2026-23. Mr. Mergus, would you care to speak to that? I apologize for the formality, but anything you'd like to say about that parcel? Thank you, sir. Martin, is there anything you'd like in rebuttal? One more time to you, Mr. Mergus, anything you'd like to say about it? Thank you, sir. Martins? Questions from the board? In that case, I would entertain a motion to uphold the assessment because the appellant has failed to meet their burden of establishing the assessment is unequal, excessive, or improper based on the evidence presented today.
Second.
I will call that moved by member Mucci and seconded by member Valentine. Thank you, Mr. Mergus, for coming in today. I've always respected you a great deal and I respect your patience with this process, even though it can be very frustrating. So just on both personal and professional level, thank you. Member Martin, you seem like you had something to say.
Ready to say yes.
Will the clerk please call the roll then?
Member Martin,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stan Gregor,
Yes.
Member Valentine,
Yes.
Member Newman.
Yeah.
Member Schwartz,
Yes.
Member Mucci.
Yes.
Motion to uphold was approved unanimously by the Board of Equalization. Item I has been resolved. So is item J and item K, correct, Clerk Regula?
That is correct.
I want to make sure we are on the same page. Bring us to item L. Martin Susort, parcel number 01-031-235, appeal number 2026-27. Mr. Susort, 3 minutes. The floor is yours, sir.
Got it?
Don't worry, I won't start the clock till you're up there. Yeah, I got it this one. I'll close it out.
Yeah, thanks for listening to me today. When I built my home in 1984, I got my lot for $4,000. And little did I know that every time I paid my mortgage, I'd be paying a second lien to the city in the way of a personal property tax, lifelong tax. And that was 40 years ago plus. And I probably have $120,000 into my buildings and property. And now out of supposition and rules and regulations, my property value is gone up quite a bit since I built my home here. And, you know, there was 4 homes on Kings Road. I live at the top of Kings Road. And I found out this winter that there was a tower right behind my house. And when I drove over there to look at it, they were up about 100 feet. I don't know. I've got a little personal problem. I'm deaf in this ear, and when I was working construction, I was on the phone all the time, dealing with business stuff, and I couldn't hold the phone close enough to hear out of this ear. I didn't know what the hell was going on. Turns out it's microwave radiation that can cause growths on your hearing canal. And we all have kids, and they all have a phone strapped to their ear 90% of the time. And all the microwave radiation that goes on in your life deteriorates your health. And I was a little more distressed about this because I didn't hear anything about the tower. I was on the Planning and Zoning Commission for about five years, and we usually had to notify people when there was issues like this. Now I'm 800 feet from the tower, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm right in the target zone of that 5G. I'm not going to challenge my valuation. I believe in supporting the city. They've supported me quite a bit, but I just wanted to listen to the comments that were here because we need to get these towers out of town. So you're 1,500 feet or 2,000 feet away from the property owners. And so I guess that's good enough. But I was a little interested to see that my, value of my land went up $4,000 the year after I got it reduced because of structural issues.
Mr. Suso.
But they took 5 feet off my property to put in ditches on the street. And then my taxes went up $4,000. And I didn't even notice it last year because the effect was not very much.
Thank you, Mr. Suso. You'll have another 3 minutes if you'd like.
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you for your patience today. Martins?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
No challenge to my value.
Thank you, Mr. Suso. Appreciate you being here today.
The property is located in Kings Row. It's also, the appeal was, based on cell tower. Cell tower is about, 900 feet from there. We have, probably across town, we have quite a couple hundred properties that are within 900 feet of some cell towers that we have, either it's Airport Subdivision behind the high school, or Hungerford Hill. Similar to other properties, we do not have any data to show that properties that are a couple hundred feet from the cell towers, that the values are affected. Also, I've listed a couple of listings. Again, our assessed values are very, very conservative, and I understand the concerns from the property owners about the cell towers and other issues that we have. And we're gonna keep tracking the market to see if there is there are some changes in the market because of these couple cell towers, and if there are, we'll make adjustments. As of now, we don't have that date available. So our recommendation for this property was no change in the value. I also looked at the history for this property. It really hasn't changed much in the value since 2018, just because we have made adjustments based on condition and all sorts of other things. So the property was valued in 2018, $220,000, and now it's valued $231,000. So it has seen, very little adjustment over years based on appeals and other things. So, our recommendation is no change for the value for this property. Thank you.
Thank you, Martins. Clerk, regular, let it be known that Mr. Susort declined and left and declined his rebuttal.
Okay.
Martins, there's anything you'd care to add? Thank you, sir. I'll just put it on the table and we can discuss if we need to. Let's see. Sorry, I'm getting a little tired. I would entertain a motion to uphold the assessment because the appellant has failed to meet their burden of establishing the assessment is unequal, excessive, or improper based on the evidence presented today.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made by member Newman, seconded by member Valentine. Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Member Valentine,
Yes.
Member Newman,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stanton Greger,
Yes.
Member Martin,
Yes.
Member Schwartz,
Yes.
Member Mucci.
Yes.
Make sure I'm not missing something here. Ripped out a page. All right, being that his last order of business, nice work, everybody hanging in. In that case, I would move to adjourn the Board of Equalization.
So move.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Adjourned. Sorry.